Today we have Dr. Brian Alman, who is an expert at helping people help themselves. You say that everything comes down to relationship. Can you explain that?
Relationships are the most important thing. We have relationships with each other. We have relationships with life. We have relationships with our pets. We have relationships with our bodies. Everything is about relationships. And they're all reciprocal too. So when you're friendly to your body's friendly to you. When you're loving and caring in a relationship, you get that back. The opposite is also true. When you're mean and rotten and critical and judgmental, you get that back too, whether it's to yourself, your body, or other people. So relationships really are the most important thing in the world. And an important point there is that love is the most powerful healing force in the world. And so with hypnosis, mind-body healing, visualization, guided imagery, relaxation, you're learning how to be loving towards yourself, loving towards other people, and by the way, loving's a mood. You can be in the middle of the trees and be loving. You can be at the beach and be loving. You can be with another person and be loving. You can be alone and be loving. So learning how to tap into your own inner love, your inner source, for yourself and for your relationships is the most important thing.
Let's say someone comes to you that's had a series of relationships, but they haven't been able to sustain a decent relationship. Can you help that person?
Yes, and I say fantastic. I'm really glad that you haven't been able to get into a long-term, loving, wonderful relationship, because now's the time. You're more ready than ever before. So you're more motivated, you're more open to learning. You just don't know the how-tos. The relationship you have with yourself is the best predictor of the relationship you'll have with other people. But you have to learn how to. How do you have an A-plus major league relationship with yourself, which basically means being unconditionally loving, towards your pain in the rear end self, towards your frustrated self, towards your overwhelmed self, what I call your committee, your whole committee, the small size you, the medium sized teenage you, and the grown up size you.
If someone's working with you, how long could they expect a process like that to take?
Immediately. And last the rest of your life.
Wow.
Immediately.
Wow.
I'll show you how. Yeah.
What about people who have never had a long-term relationship? They go from one relationship to another, but it doesn't last more than a month or two, and they say, you know, I'm just not interested. I haven't found anyone that I want to be in a relationship with longer.
Fantastic. Good for you. I'm impressed. You know what you want. You know what works for you. And you know what your limitations are. That's fantastic. If that continues to work, bravo. You are being yourself. Keep doing that. And by the way, have a great 1 or 2 months. Make sure it's a celebration and fantastic. If you want to go past that barrier, if you want to break through and get past the couple of months, you just have to learn some new how-tos. And what happens when you develop a relationship with yourself that's A-plus major league, and you can get past 1 or 2 months of loving yourself and being supportive of yourself, you will open yourself up to being like that with other people. You'll be a magnet for people. But if you limit to 1 or 2 months, it's fine. Just make sure it's a great 1 or 2 months.
Is the relationship that you have with yourself an indication of the kind of relationship that you're going to attract to yourself?
100%. It is the #1 predictor, mind, body, heart, and soul. When you have a relationship with yourself that's friendly, caring, and compassionate, that's what love is, friendly, caring, and compassionate, you will have that with other people. You'll be a magnet for other people when you have that with yourself. And by the way, it's not when you weigh less, it's not when you look different, it's not when you have less committee members or less 15th row critic judge. It's as you are right now, in the moment, learning how to accept yourself as you are and be able to let go of all the stress and difficulties and emotional baggage. It's those two things so that you can tap into your own answers, because you're either going to spend your energy coping with, I'm not the way I should be, I wish I was different, I wish other people were different. A lot of coping skills are required to deal with all that, or you will utilize your energy to be creative and to create. So it's one or the other. You will spend your life coping, oh no, or you will spend your life creating, oh yes, oh yes. For most of us, it's some of both. So you have to learn to work with that as well. Nobody's perfect, but we're perfectly okay. Yes, it's true. Yes. If you think of your life as a movie, okay, or a stage play, and in the movies, your everyday life, what you think and do and how you act, and basically what happens, in the movie theater, you have a 15th row critic who is really being very, very protective to make sure that nobody messes with you, nobody hurts you, you don't even hurt you. And by the way, this 15th row critic trusts nobody, including you. So it's very, very protective. And then you have a last row perspective, which is your intuition, your heart and soul, the true authentic you, who you really are. And it's all inclusive. And by the way, what most people don't realize and spend decades trying to change this is your committee, your little kid self that was developed by your parents and all of that, like rings of the tree, lifetime membership. You don't get rid of any of them. The 15th row critic, the protector, lifetime membership. It's impossible to get rid of it. So your judge and critic, you got it forever. You might as well learn to be friendly towards it. Your last row self, that's your strength. It's a calm power, and that's what you want to learn how to develop. But it's a whole experience, not just the part you like, not just last row. It's all of you.
Why would you not want to get rid of your inner critic?
Everybody wants to get rid of their critic, judge, 15th row perspective, but nobody does. I've been to India 2 times, studied with the gurus, traveled around, met all the gurus. Even they aren't in the last row all the time. They still get annoyed when breakfast is late or the books aren't there on time. They're human. They have real life emotions committees. They have a 15th row judge. Now, they very efficiently, within moments, get back to the last row, to their intuition, to their higher self, but they go there too. So if the enlightened gurus don't get there, they still have a 15th row committee. I don't think we do either. Plus, I've worked with heroin addicts, drug addicts of every kind, drinkers of every kind, people that have tried everything to get rid of that 15th row critic. Nobody does. So whether you do 100 years of therapy, 7 lifetimes of therapy, all the coaching, all the seminars, it's here to stay.
How is it that you can be friendly and embrace your inner critic?
Fantastic question. Okay. You have to remember your own inner 15th row critic judge is not going to trust your intuition, your higher self, okay, because you've already proven yourself to be untrustworthy. So there's no reason for it to trust you. And it's really not going to trust anybody else. So it's up to your last row, your intuition, your heart and soul, your inner voice, your inner guide, to be friendly and understanding towards that critic. And the way you do that is like in any relationship. You let it say what it needs to say. You accept it. You encourage it to express itself. Now, you think if the 15th row critic judge expresses itself, it's going to go on for hours, weeks, days, months, years, decades. Wrong. 5 minutes. 1 minute. It just wants to make sure you're not trying to get rid of it, suicide it, assassinate it, get rid of it. As soon as it thinks you're trying to get rid of it, it gets stronger and stronger until it takes revenge. But as soon as it knows you're going to accept it and allow it to express itself, it relaxes and becomes helpful and does protect you and has tons of value, and then you end up working all together.
Can we also use this technique for the other dark sides of ourselves?
Yes, even the darker sides of us, all of our committee members, all of our feelings, we have to learn to accept and express those also. They're quite bashful as well. So a few minutes there and you're done. Or if you don't accept and express them, they will get stronger and stronger until they take revenge, and they will drive you nuts for your whole life because they're not going anywhere. It would be like if rings of the tree happened during drought or rainy years. So growing up, you had difficult or hard years. You can't cut the tree down. dig out the difficult rings, the drought and rainy years, glue the tree back together and think it's going to grow. We're the same exact way. Those are parts of us. And here's the irony and what's so counterintuitive and paradoxical is that those emotions that we think of as demons or dark sides, when we accept and express those, they also have the opposite side, like a coin. So anger, when you accept and express it, brings out your compassion. It's just incredible. So there's a huge upside to really taking care of all of you and working with all of you, as opposed to spending a lifetime trying to not be like that or not be like that. So this is saving people much of their life, because if your energy is going and trying to get rid of those things, you'll never do it. Nobody does.
When we repress those parts of ourselves that we don't like, do they tend to act out even more?
Yes. Anything you repress into your body. Your body is the receptacle for all repressed feelings. And anything you repress gets stronger and stronger till it takes revenge. And you'll get your back aches and your stomach aches and your headaches. And then you'll project it out to other people. I'm in a bad mood. I'm stuck in the 15th row about me, so I'm stuck in the 15th row about you. Or I'm feeling really inadequate about me, and I really feel like you're inadequate too. So basically, whatever's going on with you, you're projecting out to other people. But knowing that you can accept and express that, and be more last row with yourself. Like, let's say if you're 80 to 90% of the time getting to your inner voice, your true authentic self, you will be happy 80 to 90% of the time. You will be the happiest person you know, because almost everybody is either stuck in the 15th row critic or stuck in committee 80 to 90% of the time. Yeah.
When you're not projecting your stuff onto another person, does that allow for a much better relationship?
Better than any relationship you've ever had in your life, immediately and long term. When you are more last row with yourself, loving, caring, authentic, you will do that with the person that you feel close to. And guess what? That'll bring it out in the other person, and it becomes reciprocal, and next thing you know, it's a heart and soul. Here we go.
How can someone begin to nurture themselves in order to have and create better relationships with others?
So the relationship you have with yourself, as we've been saying, is the best predictor of your relationships with other people. So if you're going to start with yourself, it takes moments. For example, right here, right now, in this very moment, you're breathing anyway. Thank God, right? Okay. You don't have to do anything more than just keep breathing. And by the way, just accept your breathing as it is, like you would the waves at the beach or the stars in the sky. Fast or slow, nose or mouth, chest or belly, just accept your breathing as it is. Okay? Stay with that for a moment, because as soon as you accept your breathing as it is, you're getting a glimpse of what it feels like to accept yourself as you are. And as soon as you get a glimpse of what it feels like to accept your breathing as it is, and accept yourself as you are, then you're going to want it for a minute, in an hour, and all day, and for a long, long time. So it can be done in a matter of moments. Your breathing is the greatest mirror of what's going on inside, emotionally, physically. You can always tell. So when your breathing's like, you're stressed, okay? If your breathing's rough and shallow, things are kind of rough and shallow. When you accept your breathing as it is, whether it's whatever it is, as soon as you accept it, it automatically relaxes. Even if it's hyper, even if it's stress, you accept it as it is, you'll calm right down. So the way that you can always make sure you're accepting yourself as you are is you just start off accepting your breathing as it is.
Thank you. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Alex.